This is day 369 of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. If you like to sponsor upcoming shir or more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. It would be very much appreciated. Today we're doing some Reish from Dalet Sif Test through Test Vav. Test through Test Vav. Test. Im Avar B'Shachach or Shachach Manitza B'Shabbos B'Isser. If you didn't do the right procedure for roasting, as we mentioned in the previous sifim, also the meat is forbidden. Or the batzola, the beitza, onion, or the egg. Chem Pasar Gav says if Gimel Rochilik Ben Avar B'Mezin Shachach B'Shay, it does not distinguish between deliberate and inadvertent. Ba'ava Gav Gav B'Shir B'Siman HaKoyden. Even though in terms of leaving some of the fire in this previous simon, Chile B'Kach Sifav, he made that distinction. Sifav, the B'Shachach Lo Machmir Mizbash Kol Tzorko. I forgot. Then we're not machmir. It was nisbash completely cooked before Shabbos. Ap mitzvah mekviyafo, even though it gets improved over the course of Shabbos, which beyond Lusham Sif Kav Ches, like we mentioned. V'achlishitas Kedas Rambam. Here he follows his the opinion of the Rambam. Bitzli b'tanur, in roasting in the oven shalo eitzalo eish, even though it's not by the fire, but eino tocha batik, but it's not sealed with pitch. Also, it's fair no matter what. K'mosh kosavnu. By the time we read the business, seems that the Adarab, the kind of field ba'avar here, even if he violated deliberately, ain't come no less sore. Kshegia l'machol ben drusoi. It's not his intent. The way he says is not to say that it's usher if it reached Machal ben Drusoi before Shabbos. Question is Masha called Sarko, and certainly if it was completely cooked before Shabbos. Rather, the Kai Adin Tzola Basar Batzola Beitza Tisurak Ad Machal ben Drusoi. It's talking about where it was not cooked, even Machal ben Drusoi, in the roasting of the meat, the egg, or the onion before Shabbos begins. But that's only next to the oven. That if it's or next to the fire. If you put it in the oven, yesh mishomer the becholian enosink shover shogach. Those who say we don't forbid no matter what, even if it's deliberate and certainly was not inadvertent. Because there are poskim who permit altogether this roasting in the oven when the oven is covered, even if it's not sealed. Okay, this is the Magen Avram. The Kamnos in the brackets, he says that Kamnos la person called Dalocha Kravashi, the Shari Barchabal Shari, that if it's permitted to cook the goat meat, even if the oven is not sealed, in Shom B'Taisus. Okay. Yud Peres and Choshim Chaim. Fruit which can be raw. Mutar litnam saviga hakdera stomach lichom. You can put them around the pot next to the coals. And underlines, even though the fruit is touching the fire, and it's roasted on Shabbos on account of the heat of the fire. Even though they cannot be roasted before nightfall. Because since they can be eaten raw, it's as if they reach Machal B'Jusai before Shabbos. It's not like onions, which forbade in previous sif, if they didn't reach Machal B'Jusai at least before Shabbos begins. That's not so good raw as regular raw food. But as there's anything which you can't eat is not as good raw as cooked, such as I was saying like quinces, where it's not so good before it's cooked. Also, it's forbidden it's forbidden unless it reaches Machal B'Jusai before Shabbos begins. Even though we permitted fruit, one has to be careful. If they were covered at the time Shabbos begins, they became revealed after nightfall. Not to put the cover back on them after nightfall. And not to add any cover after nightfall. Because that cause them to cook more quickly. Shabbos, like cooking on Shabbos. You have to be very careful. This because the masses don't understand that that's cooking. Shabbos also nicham tenor shel and it goes out saying on Shabbos you can't put them down on the housewarming oven in the winter oven. Where the non-Jews are going to ignite the oven because of the cold. Like we were previously, but by if a non-Jew himself put the fruit on the oven, then it could be permissible. The Chachamim said taught us, you can't put bread in the oven as night is falling. A cake on the coals, unless it can form a crust before Shabbos begins. When we call up if the crust forms, the crust forms as a count of the fire, die. That's enough. Even though in a cooked dish we acquire, because it needs fully cooked. Nevertheless, bread is not like a cooked dish. The dye so it's enough that it forms a crust, even the inside it's not ready yet. By the time Rishonim says, women are more meticulous when it comes to bread than to a cooked dish. Meaning the zeros is correct, they're meticulous by bread, they should not get burnt. And they're not concerned they're going to rake the coals. That's what the Ram writes there. You have to put in the bread with enough time to form a crust. Means afterwards, you have seen some, if you're going to rake coals, it's going to cause a loss. That's mitzvah akan l'shono. He says in the brackets, the Mefarshi Yerushalmi Pirush Zor Ayin Sham. A strange shot given there in the Yerushalmi. Your base, miu ikar ha'ina tamua. But the matter is difficult. The Mishnah before the Chadesh Krupareh Mutar Chatkila. It's for the Mishnah it's clear that if there's enough time to form a crust, it's permissible Chatkila. So it passes to put the bread inside the oven. The baking will be completed at night. How are you going to get it out of the oven? Because she's part. Now let's remove bread from their type of oven, as shall be explained. I was going to say you keep it in the oven until Motzei Shabbos. That's very difficult to say. Among other things, about these can move on because it's certainly going to get burnt. But came into the Dias Pas Omer Chazal Sheichachim of Ein Malacha. Perhaps since Chazal say Dias Pas moving the bread is requires some chachma, some skill, but it's not a malacha. V'til Prakim which is brought in some instances even permitted, as we shall see. Therefore, in here she is Kalka Pas. If you think the bread is going to get ruined in Yishem Motzei Shabbos, means them until Motzei Shabbos. Yicholim Ala any Yehudi, they call non-Jew. The doisim and tanur to remove it from the oven. Then the shvus gomer. It's not an absolute issa d'rabbanan. For the shvus magam say the mutar also the shvus telling a non-Jew to do the rabbanan if it's a place that there's a loss is permissible. You give a vacuum cream as punning. What is this performing of a crust? Crust about two rights k'deshikrum panim b'dubakim b'tanur. Either that it's going to form a crust in the place where it's glued to the side of the oven, because there are bread ovens were for pitot, and the pitot are glued to the sides of the oven. Or the side of the pitot, which is opposite the fire, the inside. The Rambam says something similar. Rabbeinu, he says, because a pass. The Rabbeinu, he says, writes about the bread medubakim b'tan on the bread putting medubakim b'tanur. It's specifically the side of the bread which is still glued to the oven. On the cold cake, he said, the surface of the cake which is opposite the fire and sham. So the Mishnah is really chaminasagi. Well, really, it says either one is good enough. Therefore, by the cake, where the surface opposite the fire cooks more quickly, because the point negadesh. He wrote the surface opposite the fire. But by bread, because of the radiant heat from the side of the oven, it's possible that the part which is stuck to the side of the oven will get cooked quicker. But the primary point is the one side is enough. And anytime you can pull the you can tear apart the challah, and there aren't strings of dough stretching from one side to the other, that's called krimas panim, even though that's inside. And it's also true about matzah. It says Arukh HaShulchan. Well, that really is not the krimas panim, obviously. So he says, if that's where it's holding, then for sure the crust already formed sufficiently beforehand. But when there are no strings attached, right, then it certainly had formed the crust previously. The bracket says here, one must say this. If there are no strings attaching two pieces of bread, then it's certainly already at least partially suitable to eat, like we find by matzah. Same thing. So that would also be mutter even by a cooked dish, because it's something like a machal b'jusashi. That's Rashi Tosis. So what would then be the difference between a bread and a cooked dish? Must be that krimas apas, krimas panim, is for sure before the stage, and if we reach the stage, it would be mutter even by tavshil, and certainly is mutter by bread. Yudat. Because I bring Ramanites upashtia paradim. The pashtidas are the cakes which we've talked about in the past, kugels of some sort. I've been sent a link by Reb Chaim Schnitzer a while ago to a blog called baloshon.com. In 2010 he did an essay on pashtida, and some say that pashtida derives from the German pasteta, and Italian pasteta, or Italian pasticcio, or the Polish pashtet, or pashtet. Somebody named Klein who writes, pie from the Middle Dutch pasteda, meaning pie, from late Latin pasta, from Greek pasta, barley mash, related pastos, paston sprinkled with salt, verbal adjective passein, the sprinklers of uncertain etymology. Then he brings down from the type of name, it seems to us it's a type of meat pastry derived from the old French pastede, as we mentioned before, and the from Targum Yonasan and Rashi to Shmuel Aleph Chafei Yud Ches, seems that pashtida is tachbira, which Jasper translates as a basket, and which is filled with ground meat and eggs, pashtitz in Laz. Okay, so there are various different interpretations here. The Arukh, in explaining the word Milyosa in Psachim Ayin Dal Mav, says, anything filled with meat and roasted is Milyosa, such as pashtida. Then this last paragraph says, one more word of similar origin is pastiche, meaning a medley of various ingredients, a hotchpotch, farrago, jumbo. So all these things have are part of the etymology of some way, shape, or form, including part of the etymology of pashtida. Anyway, this pastry has to have a crust on top, ulamata, and below these and the filling has to be if those who say you argue on the base Yosef. If you can't have the name of Yeshua, then if that's the case, you should have said Yeshomrim, as he normally does. And okay, so it's not the case. Only by bread which is thin, or by a cake which is thin. There, one side is enough. These which are thick require two sides. Please, according to this, but Panch of our bread, which is not pita, which is also thick, also could see a crust on two sides. Besides, palat pashti are not like bread. The kemshem mumulemet, since they're filling, can isa yom tachton shnei isosim. The two parts, the dough on top and the dough on bottom, are two different doughs. It's like two different cakes. So it has to be crusted both on top and on bottom. This was the dough mirvava. Also, what's in it, has to be cooked. We don't say it's no to the dough, and once the dough is crusted, that's sufficient. That's not relevant to Yisur Shabbos. And as long as you don't know that the inside filling has reached Machal B'Jusoi, we have to be concerned that he might come to rake the coals. Tezva, it's clear that with bread or cake, etc., even put them raw into the oven right before nightfall, also, it's not forbidden. It's not like a cooked dish, which requires a long time to cook. It's like roast. So there has to be at least machal b'jusay. Doesn't some chashev lo kor b'nei mil yom? Well, in this case, that's for a crust. If you put it right before nightfall and it hasn't conformed the crust before Shabbos begins, it's forbidden. It's deliberate. Also, Motzei Shabbos leishias. It's also until Motzei Shabbos, until enough time is left to have made it elapsed to have made it Motzei Shabbos. Even there's nothing else to eat. If it's inadvertent, there's nothing to eat. We do not find the shogeg unless you come to be amazing. Because it's more important for us, the bread, than other cooked dishes, so we're more lenient. Therefore, if you did inadvertently, you can remove from the oven bread for the 3 meals, lo de beso, for himself and for the members of his household. He also said to other people who have nothing to eat, come and remove for yourselves for 3 meals. When he removes it from the oven, he shouldn't use the tool which he uses, I forget what it's called, like in the pizza oven and matzah oven, that wooden paddle. There's a special name for it. But in any event, like does weekdays, but with his hand, or b'sarkin, or a knife, etc. From which way he does it weekday. We can't do it the she use that paddle. As he said, it's not a malacha. And if you put it in a way that it will form a crust before Shabbos begins, the love of Yisur, there's no Yisur then. You talk about the Shabbos, if he needs to put bread for Shabbos, roll the kedarko, take it out the normal way. We should bring example from the Aliyah Rabbah that you should be machmir to B'shinu even if you did everything else but derech heter. If he made it for Shabbos, but you only for Shabbos it's Roshon, also if you shouldn't take it out even with the Shinui. The halacha says that even if you have enough bread for 3 meals without this, but you want to specifically eat this bread, that's also called Torah Shabbos. In any event, why is this? Says Roshon, because removing the bread is not a true Rabban, obviously, but it is Rabban, we're machmir about it. It's not between bread and ovens between ours and theirs. Now, it goes one thing not to buy our ovens, even more than 3 meals. The Shibur writes in the Biur Halacha that if it's a Malkam Seder, then you can be Mako and remove everything from the oven in our ovens. Back to Roshon Krasam, it's possible it's more personal when there's a loss. So obviously if you base Ayin Sif Yud Zayin, so even then if you don't need it for Shabbos, it's still mutter for not do it to a non-Jew on Shabbos for preventing that loss.